Hey guys, good morning, lovely morning, and we have a new friend joining us today. Her name is Pragya. She is from Surat but based out of Hyderabad. And Pragya believes in being eco-friendly, very close to nature. She loves everything around nature, and she is trying to build the eco-entrepreneurship in her, where she can do things which are hardke, things which really we have messed up in a couple of years. She wants to bring in the thought process, bring in some corrections so that we do things well. Apart from that, she is also a coder. She is doing a lot of activities in terms of digital marketing, etc. And most importantly, in her introduction, she's spoken about this half engineer. So we will ask that question shortly as to what this particular means. So thanks a lot, Pragya, for joining in. Maybe you can talk about this story of yours about Pragya and how did she become so close to nature, and why do things matlab, fake dena, and we are like to we are so used to using plastics, the one time use plastics, and we are so used to not worrying about the nature and building a complete concrete jungle, and we want to live the way we are because we can afford it. Why are you trying to do and educate us on some of these hatke things by inculcating some of these things? So we would love to hear that particular story of yours. Over to you.
Yeah. So, first of all, Ravi, thank you for providing a platform to people like us to speak out our stories. Now, so you ask क्यों जरा हटके and why nature and why earth and why give away the comforts of the urban lifestyle and make people do or me coming out of my comfort zone to do certain things. So I think the story of Pragya goes back in time to when she was uh, probably 8 year old and she was staying with her parents in on probably ninth floor जहाँ से आपको buildings के अलावा कुछ नहीं दिखेगा the luxury of a beautiful house and amenities and whatnot. And I remember, so I used to spend a lot of time in my balcony, and I used to there were these trees that were that tall, and I used to feel so connected. मतलब वो आपकी दीवार में वो जान नहीं आपको कभी महसूस हो सकती है जो आपको एक पेड़ के पास 10 मिनट स्पेंड करके महसूस होगी और मैंने वो महसूस किया एक बार नहीं कई बार मैंने महसूस किया but then you move forward and then you become very ambitious, you want to do things, and that's what happened with me also. And I did my graduation. I completed my graduation with from Pilani, having all my batchmates aspiring for lovely things, and I respect them, but I could uh, I could not hold myself back from wanting to do something for the nature. And the first job that I landed in, I quit after a year, and I was staying in Gurgaon, and I used to feel so sad about the situation of the cows because okay, trees do not move but cows did, and a lot of things like those, and the landfills. And I don't know if I can speak that for a lot of people, but I could feel it. I think that is what was the beginning. I took to rural fellowship and explored rural India. And I saw that a lot of things traditionally in India were connected to nature. And then was born an initiative that I used to call Jarita. And Jarita essentially is the story of a mother bird that tries to save her two kids in forest fire. And it's basically a story of Mahabharata. And that small bird tries to, bring like water in her beak and tries to say. So that's a story in Mahabharata, and she does that. And then Jarita also sort of stands for earthen water jug or something like that. And I felt like this time it's basically the opposite. Mother Earth needs our help. She has nourished us and so much, and now it's time to give back. And it might sound so that staying in the comfort of my concrete jungle, I'm happy, but probably one needs to spend more time to then compare. So yeah, I think that's my why, as to why go out of your comfort zone, live that eco-friendly lifestyle yourself, and make other people live that lifestyle. So yeah,
So
that's
what are the
that.
things you bring in? Matlab, what are the common things, mistakes which we do? See, some of us do this, with education. Some of us are not aware of it. It's like, I think we don't have knowledge, and we do those small mistakes. So, what are the common things which you do in your day-to-day life, which
Hmm.
we or our friends can, inculcate very easily and then make a difference to the nature?
So I think after a lot of actually questions like these, I now after years of practice, I'll say, okay, just replace your shampoo with a shampoo powder made from shikakai. Just replace your bathing soap with a bathing powder that I make, and just replace your toothpaste with something that you can make at home. And then folks will be like, okay, fine. And then the next day, no one is going to do that. It's not going to happen. So I think the first step is to start, falling in love with the nature. And how do you do that? You bring nature to your house. I think, you start with small plants, and that's something that we have experimented in the society that I stay in, which is Aparna Sarovar, based out of Hyderabad. So we have started a small group. It started with 20 members in about, I think, June during
Mm.
lockdown. And we started bringing nature home. So I think the first thing that I tell everyone is start getting nature home. Start caring for small plants, start staying around them more, then start venturing out to nature. It's a long journey, and then then it goes to managing your kitchen waste by doing composting, managing your citrus peels by making bioenzymes, and then you start to realize that what are you putting on your body, what chemicals are you putting on your body, and then you start. So it's basically a combination of love for nature, love for your body. And so if you ask me, one thing that everyone can change drastically is get plants home. Wherever you are, just go to any nursery, go and pluck some plants and get some soil and get plants home. That's where you begin.
Cool. कहाँ से आया? Where did you get all this from?
So, like I said, when I was working on this initiative, Jarita, I was in Bangalore. I think I've met more than 100 people who are now living a sustainable lifestyle. I've spoken to them at length, and then I've spoken to people who are not aware. But then they are not like, it's not like good and bad people कि अरे हम तो अच्छे हैं, हम तो nature friendly कर रहे हैं, and अरे ये लोग तो बहुत unaware हैं. No, it's not like that. It's just that these people who are now living a sustainable lifestyle have done things a certain way. It's a journey. So I remember that was in the year 2016, and now, so 4 years later, I can say that because I've tried. मैंने बहुत try किया है, घर पे try किया था, मम्मी ये नहीं ये use करो, अच्छा ठीक है. 2 days later, it comes back.
Comes
So
back.
old habits die hard.
Yeah.
So it has to
and,
be a
and it's
very
more of
powerful
convenience.
love.
I think it's more of convenience. We're so used to convenience. Things which are available easily is what we pick up.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So
But
just
then
an example
if someone falls in love with someone, that moment you start doing things out of your comfort zone. Only a powerful thing can love can, make people change their habits.
good one. So yeah, I agree. Like simple things like a shampoo,
Hmm.
can be done
Hmm.
provided the availability of the powder or shikakai which is available. Were available very commonly because people are not buying it. Those are like off shelf right now. But I agree with you. Some of these small changes can make a lot of difference to the environment, the water,
Yeah.
the amount of chemicals which are like throwing back to the nature by using some of these, detergents, high toxic this thing. Some of these ads which sell fragrance of the soap. So we stopped using soaps,
Hmm.
or body lotions which are like natural. We moved
Right.
to fragrance. smelling good and all.
And once you start realizing that how it all comes back to you, how the detergent also that you are throwing away in water by thinking that your clothes are going to be nice and clean is actually coming back to you. So that connection, I think it's basically all of it put together. Start with nature love.
Cool. So one of the things I've recently read is the amount of toxics or chemicals that you infuse into the water changes the behavior of the fish, and these are the fishes which we eat end of the day. So it also changes the behavior of the person once you eat. Okay, so it can be like radical. The person's mentality can be like too radical. The person's mentality can be like giving up on life. So these are some mental, changes, brain health changes that will bring in just because of the toxins which we release in the water. So good one. So ये बताओ अभी ये half engineer का क्या story है?
Okay, so I'm half embarrassed and half proud about this part. So I did my graduation from BITS Pilani after giving BITSAT that every aspiring engineer will give. There's this exam just like IIT JEE. So I cleared my BITSAT and then I was supposed to pick up a course. And I remember this very distinctly. So my father was like, यार ये लड़की CS के लिए बनी है इसको लेकिन at my score I wouldn't get a CS, so there's something like a tweaked version of CS that's called information systems. So he filled that as the top priority and I was like यार coder नहीं बनना है, कुछ भी बनना है life में, coder नहीं बनना है, like so I have a lot of cousins in my family who are coders. So रात को खोल के the desktop system I changed the preference and कुछ और ज़्यादा नहीं दिख रहा था. मैंने कहा यार this finance word looks good. So there's this MSc Tech Finance course at BITS Pilani, which is not obviously an engineering degree that I opted for, and then obviously I got it, and then I landed up in BITS Pilani. Everything in this course is very similar to the engineering course, just like a chemical engineer. First year सब कुछ same, and then finance के this thing. But my degree has also been closed now. But I studied with a huge batch of engineers. I have an engineering mindset, and now I'm also a coder. So which I decided I'd never be. So half engineer is that.
So you're basically half engineer, half finance person.
Yeah, that is something again very interesting and embarrassing. I have like absolutely no interest in finance. I think I bunked most of my classes of finance, and I was working with NSS, like the social organization of my college, by bunking those classes. Yeah.
So this was which location in which Pilani or
Pilani campus?
Pilani
yes.
Campus. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, but anyway, you don't have attendance, right? So you have the freedom not to.
Oh yeah,
that's the best
famous
part
for that.
Pilani. I love that. I wish I knew this particular part of engineering where you don't it's not compulsory to go to a session. If you're not in a mood, you don't want to go attend a specific session, you can skip it. So that's a lovely part. Good one. So और क्या है? What are the other secrets of Pragya?
I think Pragya is not one person who can just do one thing. You'll hear people say that focus करो life में, एक चीज पे focus करो. But I think my energy starts to lower down when I'm just doing one thing. So I have to so I run my classes, Python classes, and so on the weekdays I'm like half of the day I'm busy teaching my students Python, and the other half of the day I'm busy gardening, and on the weekends I'm working on these eco initiatives, and there are times when I squeeze, and then I'm in the process of writing a book. And when Corona stops, I'd also be traveling. So that keeps me going, because I don't think एक लाइफ में मतलब सब कुछ कर सकते हैं, but जितना the more alive I feel, I think so I think Pragya is like, she keeps saying there's more to life.
So you want to live like a free bird.
Yeah, I think I could say that, or I would rather say like a river,
Hmm.
like
Good
a
one.
river. Hmm.
So, what's your travel style? I mean, what are your preference? You like solo traveling, or you like traveling with friends, with family? What's your style in terms of traveling?
So I am a person who doesn't plan so much. I've always liked it spontaneous in my travels. I think that's the thrill that I get from my actually, honestly, due to Corona, that's one side of me that's like really,
Really?
not so active. And then in the past 1.5 year, there's also a lot of personal lifestyle changes that I'm going through. But if I were to talk about my travel right from the year 2016 to 2019, it has been crazy. Like I've spent months where every week I'll wake up in a new place, in a new city. I guess 25 plus cities in India and 20 plus villages or more. So it has always been like I'm working in an NGO, and then I'm talking to a potential partner NGO, and then just in the conversation I'm like, okay, where is it based out of? Oh, it sounds like a good place. Let's see. And then I just combine that in another travel to back to hometown or something like that. So it's been mostly like that. कि चलो रास्ते में ये भी है, जैसे घर से ऑफिस जा रहे हैं, रास्ते में एक पार्क है, वहां विजिट करते करते चले जाएंगे. So it's been mostly like that.
Super. Good. So, Pragya, we have some rapid fire questions for you. Okay, so that we
Okay.
can. How's it ready?
Yeah.
Okay,
Excited.
with all these qualities that Pragya also likes to cook.
Oh yes. I have developed this love for cooking during Corona, I think, like most people. I always had this love of, preparing something for someone, for my loved ones, especially. Uh, क्योंकि आई थिंक वो कहते हैं ना कि दिल का रास्ता पेट से होके जाता है. So if you want to really that I think that's why people offer chocolates and things like that. But यार कुछ create करके खिलाना is amazing. And but I don't like it like the conventional way कि एक रेसिपी देख लिया, उस steps को follow करके बना लिया. So it's like if I have to make aloo dum like 5 times in a week, every time it should be something new.
Different.
Yeah. So I think
थोड़ा हटके.
cooking goes with freshness.
So, cooking में भी थोड़ा हटके.
थोड़ा हटके.
Okay. So, where did you grow up, and what were your like memories, childhood memories?
So childhood, I think I was born in Bihar. I am a Bihari at heart.
Hmm.
Muzaffarpur was the place. So we did not have, like, it was a very isolated place we used to live in for like for one I think for about 5 years. My mother used to be my like best friend. Me, my mother, and my brother, all sorts of games, everything. And I think my grandmother used to play the role of the mother. My mother was my like chubby buddy. And yeah, those childhood memories. Okay, I moved to. We had like my entire family had to move to Surat because I was about to get kidnapped in Bihar because the situation was weird. So I think that is my one childhood memory very distinctly. Uh, that's it. Yeah.
It's a great feeling, right? I was about to get kidnapped.
I know that it was scary back then, but then
Yeah, I know.
you grow up and like I also have a story, a filmy story.
So, क्या हुआ? What happened? The kidnap, the plan failed, or?
Of course, yes, because it was me, the warrior.
Oh my God.
So you want me to narrate the story? I
Yeah,
can
yeah,
do that.
please. This is interesting.
Okay, all right. So it was, I think, it was the annual day of my school, and I performed, like, I gave a lot of performances, and I remember I got the best student of the year award. I don't know that the school
Which
had that
class?
kind of an
Okay,
award.
help us with your age and class so that we can imagine. मतलब
I was
बच्ची
in
थी.
class one. I was in class one. I
Okay,
think I
okay,
was
yeah.
aged 5 or 6.
Hmm.
And and then I gave a lot of performances, and I was academically like, oh God, I sort of get embarrassed, but like really studious girl. And then so yeah, I gave those performances, and then I at the end of the function, I received the best student year award. And then the next day, so we वहाँ पे बस का सिस्टम नहीं था, जीप होता था. तो जीप में कंडक्टर की जगह देयर यूज्ड टू बी दिस पर्सन हु विल ड्रॉप अस. So I was 5 or 6, I think, 6, because my brother was 3, and he was in nursery. So both of us, he was like dropping both of us. That particular day, I remember distinctly, उसने जीप बहुत दूर उतारी थी. So there was a long way to walk, and हम दोनों ना बहुत गोल थे. मतलब I don't know, my mother has had this thing that खाते पीते घर के बच्चे लगने चाहिए, एकदम दोनों मोटे मोटे गोल गोल थे. So so we were like both walking, and so I was an observant kid, and this guy is like, तुम दोनों को चाइनीज बाजार में बेचूंगा तो बहुत पैसा मिलेगा. And he was like extremely happy. I was like, तेरे को जरूरत से ज्यादा खुश है आज. So ठीक है. And then so that isolated building that we were staying in, he was supposed to drop us inside. But he did not. He left us like somewhere on the main street, and I asked him also कि नहीं हमें चलो आप अंदर तक drop करो भैया. But he did not. And then उसने किसी को इशारा किया कि ये दोनों like है. And that man was a like huge, well-built man, and he started coming towards us. And like I think it was an open secret कि मेरे भाई को अगर chocolate दे दो तो he will do anything for it. And he started offering a toffee. So that was my cue that okay, something is clearly wrong. And now my brother is trying to run towards that man, and I'm like, no, तुम चलो. So as soon as I can, and खाते पीते घर के बच्चे से, so like a 6-year-old cannot lift a 3-year-old. So I slapped him. I remember I was brutal towards my brother. I kept slapping him, and like he kept crying, and I kept dragging him. And हम रहते थे second floor. And the moment we entered on the stairs, he followed, but then a family was living on first floor. So he stopped, and he kept showing him कि नहीं chocolate ले लो. And it was scary. And I reached first floor, shouted my mother's name, and then somehow like called for my mother, and then somehow help came and banged on the doors or something. I remember that memory is a little blurred, and we got into the house safely. And then the next day, a lot of inquiries happened, and it turned out that yes, these things have started happening, and it wasn't my imagination or anything. It was very much real. But yeah.
Good one, good experience. So अभी भी गाली देता है तुम्हारा भाई? बहुत मारता.
I don't even think he remembers it that well as much as I do. I think all that mattered for that little kid at that point was कि मुझे chocolate नहीं मिली. That's it. And I think the next thing for him was a shocker, because I moved to Surat much before him. Because my parents did not want me to miss my schools or something. So I like came here 5-6 months before him. I was staying with my uncle, aunt, and grandparents. So I think for him it was tragic in the sense that he lost her sister for so many months.
So who's your role model? If you have to talk about, whom do you watch, whom do you follow, especially with respect to eco entrepreneurship?
So I think this credit, of inspiring me or igniting that thing goes to Mrs. Preeti Rao. I met her when I was on Jagriti Yatra, when she showed bioenzymes as a substitute to detergents. And like a fan, I kept interacting with her, and I kept visiting her, talking to her. So I think to a good extent, I can say she was the one who inspired me really, that something can be done about it. You don't have to sit and cry about it.
Cool. So you're so passionate about cooking, and you've learned some good stuff during pandemic. So whom would you like to invite, a famous personality, if you have to invite them for dinner?
That would be Ranveer Brar.
Okay, and why?
तो मुझे बातें करना बहुत पसंद है. और बात जो अच्छी बातें कर पाए वैसे लोग बहुत पसंद हैं. रणवीर ब्रज, so why I'd like to invite him to कि मैंने जो बनाया है वो भी जरा चख लो, because he has been a chef in 5-star hotels. I don't know a lot about him, but I've watched a lot of his videos. So he connects those food with a lot of stories. And he's like, ये ऐसा हुआ और ये, and I would want to sort of have that conversation with him over a table that, sir, ये हमने बनाया है, जरा इसे चखिए और बताइए स्टोरी, फिर हम बताएंगे अपनी स्टोरी. That's all.
Good one. So, what piece of technology you cannot live with?
Sorry?
What piece of technology you cannot live
Without?
Yes.
I think in the present situation, I can safely say it's my laptop. It's never so far been my phone.
Okay.
But now my laptop has become that technology. Yeah.
So, what is the worst advice that you have received? प्रज्ञा, ये कर लो, ये करने से तुम्हारा करियर अच्छा हो जाएगा, ये कर लो तुम्हारी लाइफ सेट हो जाएगी.
I can say I think I receive a lot of advices, because I think sometimes I don't fit in the normal societal things where the people are focused, they have like okay careers, and doing really well even financially, and so I think I received a lot of advices. I don't know. I think I can tag a lot of advices as bad and worse advices. Honestly, I cannot. I think I come to a point every time where I'm listening, and then I'm like, okay, chuck it off, because I cannot, like, if I start doing listening to everything, it will not make me do my stuff.
So, this girl who wants to be like water. So, what's in the bucket list? क्या चीजें pending है? As soon as pandemic overs, what are the things she wants to do?
So honestly, the things which were in my bucket list, I have been doing in the pandemic. So I really wanted to. I wouldn't say I wanted to. So I started learning Python when I was working with another organization called Navgurukul. But I really wanted to take it to the next level, and I did that during pandemic. I wanted to cook like every single dish I can. I even had a dream of becoming a chef for a year in a hotel, probably outside India, and make them taste what India is like. And I think I've done that. And I wanted to start learning how to drive a car. I have started that, and then I wanted to grow plants like crazy and learn gardening. So I also learned gardening in the pandemic, and so did that. I wanted to go like completely zero waste lifestyle. I did that. So I think water doesn't stop. Like pandemic cannot stop a river. So it's already going on. I think. The bucket list में एक चीज बचा है that I have an infrastructure to grow everything that I need for my kitchen. So I think that's one thing that's pending. And it keeps evolving, I think. It's like samudra में जाके मिलना है ना, and then you cannot really measure the ocean. So I think it's been like that.
Good. Yeah, that's in my bucket list too. Have a garden which can sustain whatever you need for cooking.
Yes.
Okay, so the last thing. So what is that weird thing or the common thing which Pragya uses in all her dishes? Like for example, I'm more of a cinnamon guy. So मेरे को मतलब चाय में cinnamon add करना है, कुछ भी बना रहा हूँ तो उसमें थोड़ा like just of cinnamon. But what's
I think that's black pepper for me.
Black pepper. So हर चीज में थोड़ा at least.
थोड़ा नहीं, भर के black pepper. Like चाय में भी it has to be भर के black pepper.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Good. So we're done with the questions. So
okay.
Now the final questions. So with all these skills and a love for nature, and you've been a technology person, but what are the limitations or till what extent you should use it. You're close to nature. You want to do things which will have a lot of reforms. So what are the positive reforms you would bring in if you become the chief minister? Doesn't matter whether it's chief minister for Telangana or chief minister for you know, Gujarat or Bihar.
Okay. So I think I'll start on the note where even in ninth class, when someone used to ask me, "Ki, what do you want to become when you grow up?" I used to say Prime Minister of India with complete conviction. So I think first of all, when I become the chief minister, it would be like attaining one level to where I would have wanted to be. And so I think for if I become the chief minister, I would bring a lot of policies around climate change into implementation. Uh, I would start bringing in the traditional ways of economy that where you are locally basically sufficient and also economically growing. That into or so the I would sort of extend that in the smart urban city plan. So that would be something, and I think I'd go crazy about creating forest in all barren lands, and all the eco entrepreneurs rising. So like there is I think I don't know remember the name if you can help me that there's something that is promoting a lot of Make in India, right? So I think Make in India ka ek extended version would become something around eco entrepreneurship. So promoting a lot of eco entrepreneurs, basically taking economy and the greenery hand in hand. I think that is the path that I would start taking, so that in my for example 5 years of me being I think so somewhere I've gotten blurred between me being the chief minister and the prime minister. I think let for this moment let me be the prime minister, and yeah, I think I would make India so self-sufficient in terms of food and economy that when we are talking about climate change at a global level, just like I'm trying to build the society as an exemplary for other societies, I think India would have become a country with setting examples for environment and dealing with environment and climate change.
Cool.
Yeah, that's a very biased prime minister, but I think that solves for a lot of
that
it.
That is required. See, those 10 or 5 years, I think if you can make a difference to Mother Earth, the next generation, next prime ministers will really enjoy it.
The prime minister's, I think, house or the office would be like completely green. So I'm like completely obsessed about indoor gardening. I think every room can house about 100 plants.
Yeah.
So
I think one of the things which you have to put out, like if you're putting up an industry or a factory, you have to have enough trees which will clean up your stuff. I think that should be the mandatory stuff which would take care of stuff. If you've got a car, if you want to use the car, you should own enough trees in the planet which you have adopted, which will ensure that whatever you're burning is, taken care of. So
yes, I think
some reforms like that should bring in, whether it's a factory or a car or a vehicle which pollutes. So you should own trees. It doesn't matter whether you're living in the urban area or the trees belong to the forest. You should adopt and sustain that. So
and I think industry should adopt forest, and I think you pointed that very rightly. Along with that, if producers start taking more responsibility for what they're producing, and just for the glamour of it, if we uh, do not use so much of cardboards or so much of plastics, I think producing more sustainably, more responsibly could also be a very keystone change and with a huge impact.
Nice meeting you, Pragya. It was a nice conversation. Eco-friendly. The last point which you mentioned about Make in India, it is also called Atmanirbhar. Atmanirbhar does not mean that we produce it in India. We don't, not only, we stop depending on other countries, but it is also trying to have your own produce at home so that you don't depend on anybody else. Atmanirbhar is basically do stuff at your home in your own capacity. Build a lot of greenery so that you can sustain your own family. Just imagine pandemic being so worse that there were no vegetable vendors, though this is like, given a levy because they are essential services. Just imagine that if you did not have vegetables or provisions, what would be the situation? So, but nice conversation. All the best with whatever you do. Yeah, we definitely need people like you who put that signature across, saying that I do this, and spread the word across, whether through social media or the couple of friends and family members who are like attached to you. They know that Pragya ye karti hai, Pragya ye karti hai, Pragya likes this, Pragya likes that. That itself creates a lot of positive, vibrations, positive energies across, where people, you're basically seeding. When you're, every time anybody says Pragya likes plants, Pragya likes gardening, it basically puts a seed in their brain saying that gardening is good, loving nature is good, and that is what you're doing. So we need more people like you passing on the same message, and driving life with passion towards nature, and also living your life. So you have a combination of when you're living your life and you with your own choices, and also doing good for the nature. So thanks a lot for joining in, and have a blessed journey ahead.
Thank you so much, Ravi.
Thank you. So, friends, do follow Pragya and encourage her in whatever she is doing. Small changes in the way we live can, make a lot of difference in the society. And every time you make a changes, don't feel that mere ek se kya hoga. As I told you, every time you pass on a message saying that yeah, Ravi aisa karta hai, Pragya aise karti hai, she would have done this, he would have done this. Passes on the message. You don't have to preach. Sometimes things will automatically flow. So,
And actually, that makes me answer your previous question. What's the worst advice you've ever received? So I remember clearly when I was trying to use less of scooty or something, and I was advising the same to one of my family members. She said, "पूरी दुनिया का बोझ तुम्हारी कंधों पे क्या तुम्हारे करने से क्या ही हो जाएगा?" That's the worst advice I received.
Yeah. So, another advice is if you cannot encourage, please don't discourage. अगर नहीं आता, if you cannot, I mean, I see some people cannot speak positive. मतलब उनके DNA में है कि वो positivity आती नहीं है, मतलब मुंह से. So every time the first thing which will pop out is negativity. So if you cannot encourage people and talk positive, please don't talk. Please at least stop talking negative, and stop discouraging people. So yeah. So thank you, friends. Thanks for joining in. God bless you, Pragya. Have a great day.